Hyundai has made a bold move to enter the luxury car market with a new sub-brand called Genesis. And this is its first mid-size premium sedan, the Genesis G70. And to find out if the G70 has the requisite sportiness and luxuriousness to woo young executives, we're pitching it against a car that has only just recently restored its reputation as the benchmark of the premium medium sedan segment, the BMW 3 Series.
And to make it a neat three-way, we've added Asia's biggest challenger thus far to the German premium brands, the Lexus IS.
The Genesis G70 starts below $60,000 with a 4-cylinder turbo engine, though here we're comparing the most affordable twin-turbo V6 variant, the 3.3T. It's priced at $72,450 before on-road costs, and don't expect to get it any cheaper because Genesis is putting a lid on the kind of discounting commonly available with other luxury brands. How will it do that? Because Genesis models are being sold through an extremely limited number of boutique-style stores rather than Hyundai dealerships. And for now, there's only one, in Sydney. However, there is unrivaled ownership credentials for the money. Warranty, roadside assistance, servicing costs and connectivity upgrades are all covered for 5 years. And for similar dollars, the G70 3.3T matches up to the $70,900 330i M Sport variant of the new for 2019 BMW 3 Series, as well as the sportiest Lexus IS, the IS 350 F Sport, priced at a fraction over $72,500. So, what do we think about the G70's design?
Designers could have gone in one of two ways. Could have been safe and conservative and come up with something that's overly derivative, or taken a bit of a gamble and done something that's just bold and innovative. And it's probably a bit of both, I think.
Yeah, and you say the word derivative, and I'm seeing a bit of 3 Series in the profile maybe?
Well, is that Alpha Giulio I can see there, or?
Yep, and is that an Audi sort of style alloy with the blade design?
Yeah, okay, we're being a bit flippant here.
Yeah, because this is a good looking sedan.
It's a great looking car.
And I particularly like the front end because it's got a bit of a wide stance to it, and you've got a bold looking grille that doesn't look as over the top as the Lexus's.
It has its strongest identity from nose on.
Exterior design is important, of course, though in the world of luxury cars, interior presentation is possibly more crucial. It's time to give BMW's interior designers a pat on the back at long last. After years of lagging behind its German rivals, the 3 Series cabin now competes for class honours with its slick and contemporary look. There's a techie vibe without banishing the brand's traditional interior DNA altogether, while there's more devil in the quality details. Rear passengers will appreciate the cabin too, as there's plenty of headroom and legroom in the back. There's a purposeful executive feel to the Lexus's cabin beyond its analogue dash clock, and the supple leather front seats are invitingly comfortable. The interior, however, is feeling its age in a car that's been around since 2013. The fiddly touchpad-based infotainment controller and swipe-to-change temperature controls both suggest someone at Lexus asked, how can we do some things differently to the Germans, but not as good? So, how does the G70's interior stack up? Okay, so I'm your executive colleague. I'm giving you a lift somewhere. Are you happy being in the rear?
It's pretty good, pretty comfy. Like the seat, it's not quite as roomy as the 3 Series, but yeah, it's nice. And I must say, presentation is, properly premium, but there are areas, I don't know, is there anything to sort of remind you of something else?
Well, this centre console looks like it's out of a Kia Stinger.
Yep.
Look, you've got speakers that look like they're out of Mercedes.
Yeah. And those screens, I mean, really, they could be straight out of an i30 as well. So definitely non-premium when it comes to the electronic interface.
Well, and like if you're starting a new luxury brand, why would you not invest in a bespoke infotainment system that's completely different to what's in your mainstream brand?
I know, it's good, but it's lacking that sort of like last 5% of just polish.
Yeah, and look, it's a bit of a mixed bag on tactility because these dials here and these buttons are quite nice to touch, but the heating and ventilation controls, yeah, a bit plasticky. But look, I think it's important that as an overall sense of cabin ambience, you don't feel like you're sitting in a Hyundai Sonata.
I absolutely agree.
Starting on the road in the Lexus, the IS 350 features a veteran 3.5 litre V6 producing 233 kilowatts and 378 newton metres without assistance from a turbocharger. The Lexus is rear-wheel drive with an 8-speed auto, but the slowest here with a claimed sprint time of 5.9 seconds. The Lexus is the oldest model here by quite a few years. And I don't know about you, but it kind of feels it, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it feels small too, but not without redeeming features. I do love these seats. They're very form-fitting, supportive, excellent.
Yeah, they're nice. Beautiful, supple leather. Not sure about the two-tone.
Not really the towiest car out there, is it?
No, this is the bigger of the V6s that this Lexus initially came out with, and look, I still like it to an extent. It's smooth, and there is some grunt there. You just got to kind of work the engine a bit harder than you do with some of these turbocharged engine rivals.
We're so used to turbocharged response in this segment now, aren't we?
Yeah. And what about ride comfort?
The comfort's all right. It just feels a little bit wallowy. It feels like it sort of lacks a little bit of body control from the passenger seat.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised, revisiting this IS, because this is an F-Sport variant, so it's got the sportier suspension tune. It's kind of you don't really get sporty handling, and it doesn't really do great ride comfort. It just get too much busyness.
I just think this is a nice car. I just don't think I think it's a bit behind the times, and it's not at the sharp end of the sport sedans.
Yeah, look, it's a nice car to drive in many respects. It just feels like a car that's ready for replacement.
I agree.
Some years ago, a 330i badge would also indicate a 6-cylinder, though these days it's a turbocharged 4-cylinder for the rear-drive 8-speed auto BMW. With 190 kilowatts, it's down on power compared with its rivals here, though 400 newton meters of torque is respectable, and the 330i is fractionally quicker than the Lexus to 100 kilometers an hour at 5.8 seconds.
Straight off the bat, Jez, is this 3 Series is just it's more well-rounded and just more contemporary than that Lexus.
Yeah, and I think, look, recent generations of the 3 Series, they've remained a sporty drive, but they've been missing something on the comfort front.
It's just balance and it's comfort, but it's just, I drove this car earlier and it's so fluid, it's light on its feet, it's direct. I can't say enough good things about how this car handles.
Yeah, and look, the steering I think is also central to that. I really like it, apart from this overly chunky steering wheel, but it is linear, well weighted, and look, there's also a bit of busyness to the ride, but we've got to remember we're on 19-inch alloys and sporty rubber with this particular specification, and I don't mind that as a trade-off for this car's agile handling.
Yeah, it's got a nice smooth and quiet powertrain too, but thinking, does it have enough herbs underfoot?
Kind of feel a 3 Series should have a 6-cylinder as a minimum, but look, there's performance there from this Turbo 4 for definite. It's just the response when you're in comfort mode. It's not quite where you would like it to be, but to be honest, I go into the sport mode and that gives me the kind of response that I want personally. And I've got to say, when you're out on a windy road, the Sport Plus mode of this 3 Series is fantastic. It's just so intuitive that you almost don't need the paddle shift levers when changing gears.
Yeah, for my money, this is a 3 Series really hitting its stride, really evolved, and to me the big selling point about this car definitely is the driving experience.
Yeah, this is most definitely a car that has returned to form. Under the bonnet, the Genesis G70 uses an engine familiar from the Kia Stinger GT, a twin-turbo 3.3 litre V6, good for 272 kilowatts and 510 newton meters. That's mated to an 8-speed automatic that sends power to the rear wheels. Genesis claims a 0 to 100 time of 4.7 seconds.
Right, the Genesis. Now, the form guy says that it's a second quicker to 100 kilometers an hour, so have at it.
Okay.
That's some decent thrust.
That is strong performance.
It feels measurably stronger in acceleration than the German or the Japanese car.
Yeah, that's the kind of performance I want for my $70,000. But you know what? Just backing off and being a bit more sensible, and I'm really liking the crisp throttle response of this car at low revs, something that you don't get from either the Lexus or BMW.
The ride and handling package is pretty impressive too, I think.
I think the local engineers have done a cracking job. You know, it does feel like a firm car when you get it in initially, but there's an extra degree of isolation from the road that you don't get in the Lexus or the BMW.
Yeah, for my money, driving it early, it's a little heavier in the corners. It's nicely tied down, Steering is probably not as nice and light and responsive as the BMWs, but it definitely gets its hustle on, and it balances those things with, you know, really good degree of comfort.
Yeah, just picking it up on the steering. Yeah, look, we're in the comfort mode at the moment where I don't mind it, where it's still not as good as the BMWs, but in the sport mode, it just becomes overly heavy and horrible. You know, I just can't drive it in that mode.
Great cruiser, impressive performance, but has the Genesis G70 arrived as a premium offering?
I think it has, because I remember comparing the Hyundai Genesis Limo, which is now rebranded G80, and against a BMW 5 Series, a natural rival. It was just no contest. The German was better in almost every respect. But here we've got a G70 that is in proximity of a 3 Series in terms of ride, handling, and better in performance.
I think it's not merely a competitor, it's actually probably at the sharp end of the premium sports sedan segment.
Yeah, I really like this car.
Me too.
The Genesis G70 then has at its first attempt done something that Lexus IS has been trying to do since the 1990s. Get ultra close to the driving qualities of the BMW 3 Series. The IS 350 is still the right car for a certain buyer, though right here and now it plays third fiddle in this test. Right, Curt, where does that leave us with these two?
I'm increasingly convinced that Genesis can measure up to the German premium benchmark. And you need to spend 6 figures on a BMW to get a proper premium 6-cylinder engine like you do in the G70.
Yeah, that's a good engine in the G70, and I still equate a 3 Series with a 6-cylinder, really. But look, the counterpoints for the BMW is that if you're a keen driver, this is still the pick, and if you're more focused on luxury, then the 3 Series' cabin has inherently greater space and sophistication.
I'd have no problems recommending the Genesis over the BMW if performance is a priority, but none of this addresses one big thing: badge.
Yeah, badge cachet, very powerful in this segment, of
Absolutely.
course. It's going to be interesting to see if buyers are going to be persuaded by this new mark. But, you know, as a way of kicking off a new brand, I reckon this G70 makes quite the statement.
They've done a great job.